Hello there. They call me Mr. E. Now, secular society is a good thing, right? It's the idea that religion has nothing to do with the working of society, created out of the separation of church and state. These two things, though, existed together for thousands of years as inextricable entities of power and control over humankind. And in the space of just a few hundred years, this bond was completely severed, leaving us only with state authority as the means of controlling human life on earth, making the laws which bind us and providing the force which controls us. Today, religious authority is seen as a personal choice, and imposing it on anyone would be seen as a violation of their human rights. And although many people today would see that as a testament to how free our world is, I would argue the loss of an all-powerful God from society's structure has done as much harm to humanity as good. It has caused political uncertainty and instability, threatening freedom and causing unprecedented destruction across the globe. But is taking God out of society really that serious? Let's find out.
My name is Mystery. For reasons unknown, I have been thrown back into the past almost 100 years, and this is my story.
We are going back to before the age of revolutions and the modernizing of the world, to the Reformation. The Reformation broke up the all-powerful church, shattering it into various factions, destroying the bond between church and state. This was crucial for the secularization of the world because it helped destroy the universally held belief that the ruler of the state, usually a king of country, was given their divine right to rule over the masses by God through the church. Removing God from the power equation left a massive hole in the power structure, meaning the human ruler of society, a king, was now the sole power figure. Instead of a different authority filling that void, monarchs simply took absolute control of society, in some cases even establishing their own religions to legitimize their absolute authority. Think of the Church of England, for example. Now, this attempt at absolutism actually made society less free, which is hard to imagine, as it really concentrated all power upwards to the king instead of being spread across the nobility and other levels of society. This is what helped give traction to Enlightenment thinking, the thinking that birthed the age of revolutions and the liberalization of the world through modernism and democracy. Think of it as replacing the holy gospel of the church with the gospel of the people. It was no longer a time for mystical thinking, but rational. The goal of life wasn't to get into heaven, but living your life on earth. No more divine intervention, but human rights. This new gospel was the rights of man. This ideology that men are equal, equally entitled to liberty and to a humane existence, got people hoping for change. And revolution was their ticket to these new secular ideals. But there is a great problem of secular society in failing to address the power vacuum left by religion. An all-powerful God helps to legitimize the power of the state to rule over the people. This was lost and never replaced by another force. The wonders that were promised by secular society, freedom and equality, only ended up being true for the upper classes, not average people, not the masses, and without a force to legitimize state power, like the one that God had provided, there was no blind faith in rulers held collectively by the people, meaning they never unquestionably believed in the power of the state, nor entrusted it to reign over their lives. Because where did this right to rule come from? If modern secular society is based on reason, and it's obvious that the state is unjust, and the ruling classes have no right to be well off, while the majority of people suffer, and there's not even an afterlife to look forward to, then there is always going to be discontent in society. Without the legitimizing effect of an all-powerful God to say this ruling class or this government has authority, people constantly question Who has the right to be on top? This is the reason why there is so much political instability in the world today. Because we kept our ruling classes, but they lost their license to rule us. Now, I am not saying that God is essential in social stability, but without it, the masses are no longer convinced, unequivocally, of the need for a ruling class and can see rationally that rulers aren't the answers to society's problems. They really aren't necessary at all, just a throwback to an old system that we haven't yet found a better solution for. And importantly, our rulers, they are on borrowed time. People should be their own rulers. And I think, as people living in a free world, we understand that deep down inside, but we just can't articulate it. And so, we put up with political elites and authority structures with steady unease, always looking for a better political party, a new leader, an answer to a question that can no longer be answered. Who has legitimate power to rule over humanity? It's simple. No one. But how do you set up a society that reflects that? Now, if you thought this was interesting, please give it a like and a share. And subscribe for more. There is much to learn before we can unlock the revolution. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.